Sup, nerds? Hi guys, what's up? I'm kind of really excited. I want it to be a little bit more chill in these videos. Obviously the fit's not doing it for today, so for next week's video I'll probably try to go a little bit more casual, because I'm like, you're saying your setting is a little bit more chill, but your fit is a little bit not more chill. Usually I just film, these videos right after I film my makeup videos, and so yeah, sometimes I'll put on a hoodie or something like that, but today it was just like way too hot for that, so I was like, okay, whatever. Anyway, but I'm so excited for today's video, and I wanted to again chill out a little bit. So we're kind of in a different area. He's mowing the lawn right outside, so I'm sorry about that, but I'm like, I have to film right now. Sorry if you can hear that. I'm going to try to talk a little bit louder so it's like a faint thing in the distance. We'll see. Anyway, guys, I want to stop talking. And without further ado, let's just get started. I did want to mention something real quick too. I got these off of Amazon and it's so nerdy, but I felt like obviously it's so nerdy _ me, so I needed to share it with you guys. But I got these like freaking pouches from Amazon. They're just like bookcases basically. So they have like a zipper, they have a little pouch. And I had, you guys know, I think if you saw that video, I had a freaking disaster where one of my books, I had it in my bag with my leftover Chinese food, and honestly, it was wrapped in a plastic bag. There might have been a hole in it or something like that. I don't really know, so I was very annoyed about it, but it ended up getting on my book's pages, and I know, like, how reckless could I be? But I honestly was like, okay, it's fine, it's like sitting up, like, it wasn't that serious, but whatever, it ended up happening. Because why wouldn't it happen to me? So I bought these in hope that, like, although like liquid will still probably seep through, just so like my pages stay good and fresh, and like just so literally there's an extra layer protecting my book. And so there's a little set that was like $12 for two. So I bought both, and I used them today because it was like easy. It fits, honestly, 2 books fit in here. So just so you know, I wouldn't do that, but if ever, you're in a pinch, you need one to shove a book in there or whatever, or 2 books do fit in there. And then it does have a little pouch here. You can put your pens in there, your notepads, anything like that. So it's actually really, really cute, and I was really glad that I picked it up. Okay, so I didn't even mention this, but I'm sure you guys saw the title and maybe the thumbnail. If you guys don't know, today we will be ranking all of my Abby Jimenez books. Essentially, we're just talking about them, but I did put them in an order of, like, my favorite to, like, not my least favorite, because they're all so good. They're all good in a different way, but, like, these are the ones that I would race to reread first, to, like, the ones I would read, like, I'd be okay not rereading, or, like, I would reread, like, if I, after I reread all the rest of them, you know what I mean? I might actually read them in order, though, if I was doing it again. I don't know. Anyway, I did want to mention too, Abby Jimenez, she actually made a little short story, like a little extended, what did she call it? I don't know what she said, like a little thingy of after the book Part of Your World, but she just like sent it out a few days ago, like a week ago, and I had to print it out because I was like, yes, it's so good. And at first I was like, who is this character? And I won't tell you who it is because the whole thing, she kind of keeps it a secret. Like Abby Jimenez kept it a secret until like the final line where she says like, oh, blah blah blah, and you're like, oh my gosh, that is so amazing. It's a great story. She actually said that they're not going to get their own book, which I was like, ugh. She said, but there will be more like shorts and stuff like that for this character. So I'm like, I'm gonna print it out, have it just in case there are more. I can reread this one if I want to. It's super cute, and so I thought that was great. But I wanted to mention that because I'm an Abby Jimenez like diehard right now. I'm obsessed. If you guys don't know though, her books do have a little bit of spice in them. Their scenes are a little bit more intense, a little bit more explicit. They say a lot of stuff. I keep forgetting to mention that for some books because not that I just assume people know, I just am like, I'm 23 years old, so I keep justifying, like, I keep saying, like, in my head, I'm like, okay, well, I could just skip it if I want to, like, I decide what I read, but I'm like, I want to share that with you guys in case you're someone who's, like, going off based off my recommendation, and you may not be 23, or you may not want to read that, or you may not want it in the book at all, even if you skip it, and so I just forget to mention that, but I'm going to mention it right now. They do have some scenes that are a little bit of a lot. But other than that, the story, they also, well, obviously, I don't know if this is obvious, the characters all curse and say whatever they want, so again, if you're not into that, keep that in mind. I digress. I obviously don't mind because I love her books, and I will be buying every single book she comes out with. All right, let's go in order from, let's just rank them real quick. My number one favorite book from her. This one's the newest, so it's the hardest to like say if is it new that I'm gaga over, or if it's the actual book, but I think it's the actual book. This is Abby Jimenez, yours truly. Oh my freaking gosh. If you guys have not read this yet, you need to read it ASAP. I am obsessed. It is so cute. So freaking cute. And I literally was like, my books last month were like amazing. Like I could want to go back and read this for the first time again. Emily Henry actually was like the one who commented. She's like, Jimenez is a true talent, and I'm like, she's so amazing, and I just cannot get enough of her. I'm gonna talk about it, so it's hard to like say what counts as a spoiler and what doesn't. Like I'm not gonna share like the whole story, but I do want to mention just a few things. So if you don't want to hear about this when you haven't read it yet, then you can just like, skip a little bit forward and then go to the other books if you read them, or if you want to hear, then whatever. But just the premise is in the beginning, they kind of run into each other, and she gets off on this. She thinks basically, like, at first, Abby Jimenez gives the impression that this is going to be enemies to lovers, like they were going to hate each other or whatever, but honestly the girl just kind of thinks the guy's like a jerk and all this stuff, and she kind of has her opinion on it, and he's like, no, I just have like social anxiety so I'm sorry, like if it came off that way, like I really like am just, it's not intentional. But the cutest thing happens. The way he kind of tells her that is he writes her a note, and he's kind of like, I'm so sorry, like blah blah blah, like this and this happened, but it's because of my whatever, all my anxiety, all this stuff. It was so freaking cute. I'm like, I'm a sucker for a good note, a good letter. I love that. It's just one of my things. I love letters, and like when people write letters to each other, to me it's the best. And so anyway, so he writes her like this letter, and then they go back and forth a little bit, and that's how they kind of talk for a little bit. And then they have like the secret meeting place where they meet like for lunch. It is so cute, but it's like without everyone else. And I was watching another girl's video, and she kind of like was talking about this too, and I was like, yes, that's what I love about this too. She like acknowledges all his like social anxiety, and he's kind of like, he was going to her friend's house, and she was like, oh, I gotta go take a picture of the driveway. And the friend's like, why? And she's like, because he needs to know where he parks. He gets anxious about it if he doesn't know. And I was like, that is so cute. She does that like throughout the whole book though. Like once they become like, you know, friends again, like friends in the friends, she just starts to like oh, like send him the menu, or like make sure he knows this and all this stuff. It is the cutest thing, because I don't think I fully have social anxiety, but I do think that I'm a little bit socially awkward, and I hate like literally it makes me nervous. I'm like, okay, I can't go if there's nowhere to park. Like literally I think like that. And so I honestly, like, I'm not one to check the menu before I go. I don't mind that kind of stuff, but like the parking, I'm like, I resonate with that like so strongly, because I'm like, oh my gosh, where do I park? Is there street parking? Do I have to parallel park? Do I have to pay for parking? Like, please just tell me. And to find someone who just kind of does that automatically would be amazing. So I'm obsessed with that kind of plot. Everything about this is just stunning. And I really like that he too, like through the whole thing, it's so freaking cute. Through the whole thing too, it's not like he sits there crippling himself like, oh, I can't do that because of my social anxiety. There are moments where he's like, you know, honestly, I'm gonna do this because I love her, and even if it's, you know, I get anxious about it, I'm gonna do it. And I love that, because it's him not overcoming it, but him working with it, you know what I mean? Like, you like not letting it stop him from loving this girl, and I love that. So 10 out of 10 would recommend. There's probably so much more I could say, but I really don't want to make a long video because all my other ones have been long, and I don't want to do that to you. So there's that one. That one I probably talk the most about because that's the freshest in my mind. But my second favorite, this is the first book she actually wrote. The first book that she released, I should say. I don't know. Yeah, the first book she released. This is Life's Too Short, and I love this book. Although this one is, I read them out of order, but this one is so good. Wait, is this one? No, I lied, I think. I did lie. Sorry, this is not the first book she wrote. I'm lying. I think this is the third one. Because all the characters from the first two kind of meet in this one, and that's my favorite thing ever. But again, this is Life's Too Short. This one, I'm like, could your stories get any more unique? At first, I'm like, I've read 3 of her books already, so I'm like, there's no way they could get any, like, more, you know, unique and different. she done did it for me. So again, the premise a little bit, the girl ends up with a baby, the guy like lives next door, he owns the whatever, and they end up just kind of, you know, doing this casual thing. She's dying apparently, and you know, she just doesn't really tell him, and so that ends up obviously becoming an issue. Jada jada. But you know, they love each other. You love the story. There's a dog. There's just so much cuteness. It's like cuteness overload. I can't even remember again specifically like what was so exciting about it. But first of all, the storyline in general was just perfect. It's like she has a baby and he's like helping her with the baby. He loves the baby and blah blah blah. Like it is just everything. All the pieces are so unique that together they're so beautiful. And while the ending kind of is not my favorite in the whole wide world, I wish there was, you know how people like fight at the end or whatever happens at the end, usually there's like a little bit of a division before like the final like together, and I'm like, I always wish the together was a lot longer at the end just because you get a little bit more closure. But it was really, really nice. Again, the characters all from the first two books all meet up in this one, and I love that. So I love that book. It's hard again to not say spoilers, so just keep that in mind. Okay, lucky number 3. Again, all these books are amazing, but that is The Friend Zone. This is the first one she wrote, and I love this book so much. And honestly, like top 3 right here could all be tied for first in their own different ways. I love this one because she like has trouble having a baby, and all he does like the whole time like they're just hanging out, he talks about how much he wants kids. And so she's kind of like in her head, well, this is not gonna last, blah blah blah, like he wants kids, I can't have kids, so whatever, we're just gonna do what we want for now and then we'll get over it, we'll move on. Is he the firefighter? Am I mixing stories? I believe he was the firefighter or whatever, and I can't remember exactly, but I know that his best friend or whatever and the girl's best friend, she's the girl's best friend and he's the boy's best friend, and so that's how they end up like meeting or whatever. And then she ends up like needing his help with something, so he ends up helping her with the thing, blah blah blah. Then they get together, and again she's like, this is casual, whatever, it'll end soon. And he's like in love with her, and I just love it because it is just so cute. First of all, there's a huge thing that I would never write into a book. I would not have the heart to write into a book, but Abby Jimenez did it, and I'm like, girl, I couldn't have done that. It was like heart-wrenching. I was sobbing. Anyway, if you have not read it, you need to read this ASAP. It is so good. But anyway, they end up, either way, they go back and forth, whatever, and he's like, what do you mean, like, whatever, like, why are we ending this, blah, 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 whatever it happens, I don't remember specifically, but she's like, I can't have kids, blah, 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 and he does the cutest thing, like, this is a PSA to all the freaking guys out there. If your girl tells you she cannot have kids, don't make that a deal breaker. There are plenty of other ways to have kids. And so the epilogue kind of shows just, again, their journey and that kind of thing. And he does this thing where he like does a bunch of research. He's like, I'm not giving up on you. Like, this is not it. He does a bunch of research on like adoption, different ways to get pregnant, all these things, and it is the cutest. He gives her like a huge binder, and she just is like sitting there reading it, sobbing, and I'm sobbing with her, and then I'm like, he is a keeper, girl. But I think this book was so unique in that, and that's all of her stories. All of her stories have like kind of this issue, and it's not like, it's not freaking like, it's not one of those big issues like the social issues now that people make into issues that are not actually issues. These are real issues that women actually struggle with that are like awesome to read in a book because there's a way to overcome it. And again, this is a good thing, like make your man read these books because they need to learn how to act right when these social issues come up, and vice versa, because again, the first book, the guy is the one with the big issue, the girl is the one who has to kind of, you know, learn how to like be there for him basically. And so it's just it's so good, and I love that about her writing because it doesn't seem like a woman sitting here complaining or whining about, you know, her circumstances, or a man whining about his circumstances and sitting here coddling. It's not a coddling. These books are not coddling these issues. They're literally saying like, no, these are real, they exist, we can move past them, we can find love through them, and all those things. And I love that. Love that. Okay. Next is Part of Your World. Again, I really like this book. This was the first book I read from her, so I read them in the wrong order, but this is the first one I think it was the first one, and it's it's a really long time ago. I think maybe close to a year ago. maybe close to a year ago, but I really remember really liking this book. I thought it was cute. I thought it was fun. I just don't remember being like super like in it, like not in a bad way. I just felt like the other ones were so in my soul that this one kind of, I think, was a little bit like, I loved it a lot. I just don't remember being like crying with it and laughing with it, you know what I mean? I remember just being super cute though. And I can't remember. I know the after this one is where the little short story comes in again. If you want to read the short story, you need to sign up for her newsletter, but read this one first, basically. Anyway, and I don't remember exactly there being anything that was like, oh my gosh, like there's characters in here that all have issues, but it's the other characters, so I don't remember these two being like having anything specific. But if you guys don't know, the main girl in this one is actually best friends with the main girl in the Yours Truly. So super cute. Last but not least, again, I love all of her books. This is the Happily Ever After playlist. I like this book a lot. I just, again, don't remember anything being like super right in the soul, and this one I could be wrong with, because I think I remember the last few scenes when they go, like, she goes on tour with him or whatever, and that was like really sad because she was getting really sick, and he was like, I want you to be with me, and she was like, but I mean, she was like, I want to be with you, and he's like, you're so sick. Oh, I remember that. He ends up like doing crazy stuff to get her to send home or whatever, and so whatever. So I remember all this. That part's coming back to me, but everything else I'm like, I don't remember. I think the dog like jumped into her car, so she found this dog, had to bring home, he wasn't home, blah blah blah. She ended up keeping the dog, and they were talking back and forth. Talking back and forth about the dog, and she's like, but I like this dog, like this is my dog now. And he's like, well, I'm coming home soon, so it's my dog. And she's like, wow. And I remember that they just like love the dog, whatever. He's a singer, and she actually has, like, I think she has this blog. I think she was an artist, and she had this blog that was like people really loved. I don't really remember exactly, but it wasn't, to me, again, it wasn't anything compared to the other 3 books, so that's why I was like, but again, this one I read, I think I read these last 2 a while ago, so the rest of them are a lot more fresh, and so that's just probably why, but again, it's just whatever. Again, nothing against those last 2 books. I love them all, and I really think the order of them is, it doesn't really matter. You don't have to read them in order, but they do get mentioned in each other's books. So the first 3 books all get mentioned in the same book, in the 3rd book. So it's these 2. So it goes the Friend Zone, then it goes the Happily Ever After playlist, and then Life's Too Short. But all of these characters are mentioned in this one. So you don't need to. They're not like in this big plot thing. Like it actually might spoil a little bit. But it's not like that important like to read them in order, but I would recommend reading them in order because I literally was screaming. I was like, I saw this girl who did, like, she recorded herself, like, finishing one of these famous books, and I'm like, I think I'll need to do that. I should have done that with this book because there's the scene where they all, like, meet up together. I was literally, like, screaming, and I'm like, who do I tell? My family does not care. So I was really excited about that, but I love those. And then the other 2 are after that. So then it goes this one, and then Yours Truly is the newest one. And these characters are best friends, which is nice. So it's cool. It's cool. It's funny though, so in this little short story, the short story is called All Roads Lead to Here, and I thought it was funny. In this short story, which takes place right here, so it goes Part of Your World short story, then it goes this one, although this one's not mentioned in it. This girl, the person in this one, mentions a character from this one. And I said, is our next book going to be a collision of all of these books? None of them, like, really would overlap. This is more the doctors people. The 2 girls are, like, doctors, and obviously the boy in this one is a doctor. So this is more of the medical field. This one is more of the, like, artistic field, if you will. I honestly, yeah, like, I think that, like, most of them are, like, the one girl's, like, a YouTuber. The other girl, like, has her own, what the heck is the word, business, like she sells dog stuff, and then the other one is like an artist, so like they all are like more artistic, and this one is more like medical field. So I'm like, could we have a combo coming? I'll be down. So let me know. Anyway, that is it. I'm talking for too long. Let me know your favorite Abby Jimenez books down below. I cannot wait to see what's next. I have no idea. I have no idea like where she could go next, but I know there's more coming, so I'm very excited about it. Anyway, guys, that is it for this video. I almost did my makeup outro. Bye, nerds.